I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the Village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Song numero uno. Alliance. Cypecore. Get with it. This is concerning.
Okay.
Amy's video is
Once again,
is the video over?
I think it's just the end credits.
Oh, it's like 5 minutes of end credits. Huh?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, it's not done.
Nah, yeah, I think
done.
that's it. You know how Amy gets down. It's always some weird thing she does so that she can avoid.
Yeah, I know.
Avoid the copyright.
I was like, I saw people saying, "Oh no!" I was like, "It didn't work."
I know. I'm like,
this
no
can't
way.
be.
I was gonna say, listen, YouTube, this is Amy. We're talking
You've
about.
made a mistake.
You've
clearly.
made an error.
That was a good song.
Yeah,
I liked
man.
I liked the visuals. Like, I'm glad that we were able to kind of watch the visuals. I liked the outfits that the girls had. It kind of reminded me of like sort of the Viking look with a little bit more messier look with it.
There's a part of me that like, because it takes a little bit of extra work. Go ahead, Orion. Use the deodorant. That's okay. Go ahead. It takes a little extra work to do what she does, for the videos, so time-wise. But I wonder if we could make a tier where it's like, I don't know.
I don't even know what she does. I don't even know what she does.
We could somebody said would say, okay, we'll treat this official video.
Oh, yeah.
So we could find a way to do something else and like extra $5 or something like that. It adds such a different dynamic to the video.
It does, but sometimes it's better not to have the video, because sometimes the video distracts from the song. So,
what I also loved about what they were doing when I first got introduced to Mgwa, and I was, you don't understand this, but it's not normal that like you discover a band, fall in love with them, and then immediately you're able to talk to the guy that leads the band. Like that's not normal, but that's how you came into the community, whatever. But when I ran into one of the guys from Mgwa, I was talking to him, or whatever. Then I ran into the guys from Batushka. And having a conversation, and it was interesting because the guys from Batushka, their imagery was more of like an Eastern Orthodox kind of ritual type thing. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And one of the guys was like, "Listen, we used to play Fortnite."
I was going to say that's how you got introduced to Fortnite.
That's actually how I got introduced to Fortnite. You're right. It's like he's like, you can't just be talking about the devil all the time.
Because he bought you your first
my
outfit.
first skin. Shout out to the homie.
Your first skin.
But he's like, you can't just talk about the devil all the time. He's like, there's like 18 million bands that are talking about the devil. And like, it's cool. When I'm looking at the imagery, it's kind of like a Mad Max, like post-apocalyptic, sort of futuristic, dystopian reality where, I was listening to Yasser Qadi. I was listening to Yasser Qadi about Dajjal. Dajjal is the Antichrist in Islamic theology. And he was talking about how...
I didn't know they had an Antichrist.
Dajjal, yeah, he's the Antichrist. And, literally, he's got a bad eye, and he's got literally a tattoo that says kafir on it. Kafir means unbeliever or disbeliever. It's like, how did he fool the whole world? Metal. Like, how niggas just follow him? Literally, nigga, he says you're the devil on your head. Like, I don't think dude's gonna follow you. Like, we're real superstitious people. You see what I'm saying? Two things.
Okay.
But anyway, it was like this idea that the Antichrist was going to kind of like emerge like after a nuclear war.
Okay.
Because, Muhammad is Sallallahu, but he was talking about horses and bows and arrows and shit. And so we're like, well, obviously you translate that as tanks or whatever. But then you got that quote from Einstein that says, we don't know what weapons World War III are going to use, but we know that World War IV will be sticks and horses, basically.
Oh, that's good. Who said that? Einstein?
Einstein said that.
Okay. I've never heard that before, or I don't remember hearing that.
Yeah. So that was a real so Yasser Qadi used that. So like when you have like Old Testament passages talking about horses and wood being burned for 7 days, and then the Hadith passages that talk about that. But the point is, like, there's this idea that you're going to progress so high in the technology that your ability to destroy each other is going to be such that it kind of resets the button and you start back in year one almost.
Well,
but your nature hasn't changed, so you're still going to go to war. So you're going to just kind of cyclically just keep killing itself.
Some of the, like, I've seen stuff where they're talking like when you see talking about Atlantis, or like some of those stone structures that we don't know where they came from, or like the stuff that doesn't even make sense, like how humanly it was possible to even create something like that. that kind of gives you the idea that, wait, was there something that like, was there some catastrophic event that basically put us back to like sticks and arrows? And
Right.
so we're at the point that we're at now and we're like, ooh, the iPhone 15's coming out or whatever. But really that's like way behind in the technology that we would have had. I mean, it's an interesting thought for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about Islam?
Did you talk to? Pretty sure it was Dark Side. There was a little bit of a controversial situation. Blah 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 blah. We were talking. I said, "Man, I don't care about that shit." But we'll keep talking about it. So that's kind of the thing. Like, it was very futuristic, and the lyrics were basically saying like, we've got to come together as one to kind of overcome something.
What were you bringing up Islam about? You're just talking about the World War III thing, basically.
Yeah, no, because like the World War III concept, the World War IV concept, where it's like, we're going to be fighting with horses and everything because technology is going to advance. So this group looked like that war.
Yeah,
it looked like,
yeah.
Either World War III had just happened and you still kind of had the tech, but like everybody was like dispersed.
Yeah.
And then you kind of had to like reconfederate to like, but like, this is a concept record. Amy said this in the intro, so you kind of already knew this was coming. Like, this is a concept record, so I'm sure like there's an entire story around this, but it kind of looks like some futuristic war had happened, and then now this person in Alliance. I mean, literally the song is called Alliance and he's trying to get people to come together. Which it's just so fascinating to me. Like, doesn't matter where you put us, what time period you put us in, it always comes down to the same shit.
Or what age you are, because
or what age you are.
The kids to adults, it's like it's always hard to get people to work together. I did think, when you pulling up the lyrics here, when it was saying break the silence because we are one, we are the alliance because we are one. That, to me, I liked those lines, especially even the way that he was singing. It was kind of like uplifting, but then it had, it reminded me, because a lot of times the reason people can't actually work together a lot of times has to do with communication and the lack of communication.
Agreed.
So when he said break the silence, to me, that was like, break the silence of not actually communicating about like what's going on, and like everybody communicate honestly so they could form an alliance, and it could be a tight-knit alliance. Because obviously anytime you get a group of people together, or even a small or big group, there's going to be divisions that are going to come in, and there's going to be like, people are going to get their feelings hurt. That's actually in the Bible. It says like, if your brother offends you, like, go directly to them and talk to them about it, which is interesting, because you would think like it would say, if you do something wrong, go and make that right with the person, which it does say that in some places. But there's also that addition of like, if your brother offends you, go to them and talk to them about it, which I think is really, really significant, because you can go about your day and not even be doing something wrong to somebody, but they can get offended by what you do or what you say based off what they think your intention was when you did or said that thing. And they could have not a clue where you were coming from, or maybe you were just involved in some conflict and then you were rude to them, and then they thought that it was all about them, but it really wasn't. So that's why it's so important to have the conversation and talk about it. So yeah, that's what it made me think of in that, was just like breaking that silence and communicating with each other and giving people the opportunity. Like, if you really love somebody or a group of people, then you want to give them the opportunity to be able to like clear the air. So that when that part was going on, that's what I was thinking about. And it's something, it's actually like a phase of my life that I'm working on, is being more communicative and not like, sometimes you think it's better to overlook something, but it's actually not, because if you just overlook it, it's still kind of like floating around there in the background, when it could be something that could be easily dealt with by a quick conversation.
One of the things that's interesting to me is like, the older you get, like the basic, you start to realize the basic fundamentals and why. It's like when you're first starting self-defense and your sensei's making you do the same ridiculous things over and over again that you never actually use in a fight. There's a lot of the katas and things like you never actually use in a fight. And it's not until much later to when you're actually in a fight to where, no, you're not doing the same moves, but the same mental discipline that you trained your mind in when you were doing kata in your room.
Yeah.
gives
Comes
you
into
an
play.
advantage when you're in conflict with somebody who's just all so when you're actually you're doing things like years ago that now when you're older, when you're actually in the situation, you go, oh. So it's like it's this big futuristic thing, nuclear weapons, cyber war, blah, and you're talking about, well, if you have a problem with somebody, go talk to them. It's like, how do those two relate? It's like, I don't know. Like, how do you think world wars start? Like, the greed, I want this guy's shit, or this guy's got great land or whatever. Absolutely. But at the second level, I mean, I've known personally people have died that didn't have to die other than just a communication issue. And,
Wow.
you know, like
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, so like, it's the more and more, and then you look at what's going on in our current political climate. Good night. It's like, we're getting pushed to these. And the other thing, too, is like, because I'm a post-millennialist, I don't believe that World War III is inevitable. I don't believe that, like, global destruction is inevitable. And I do believe human beings are going to figure it out. And this song and the visuals in the song are kind of, I don't think this is a Christian band, but look at the themes of the song. Shout out to Jambi. The first word of the song is pray. Poor Jambi. Light the fire of our hope. But look what it says. We are the shelter. So it says pray, but then the locus of their protection is actually themselves being united together. Pray, light the fire of our hope. We are the shelter, break the chains that hold. A deeper meaning is what we long to find. Join the alliance, leave the slave behind. And, you know, one of the things that people have to realize, one of the first things that you get trained in if you are trying to be a part of an organization that is influencing large groups of people in a very short period of time to do things that they otherwise wouldn't normally do, one of the first things you're taught is that for whatever reason, evolutionary explanation, natural selection, esoteric explanation, religion, human beings are obsessed with identity and purpose.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times those things are combined. And so shout out to 275, a 275 Ranger. Like, that is an identity. It is also a purpose simultaneously, so much so that when he wants to present his internet avatar, he presents himself as 275 Ranger. Because if you know anything about that storied battalion and what those boys have done, I was obsessed with the Rangers before I even heard about Navy SEAL, any of that shit. Like, I lived right next to a Navy SEAL. Dude told me he was a SEAL. I laughed at him. I was like, what? Like,
you laughed?
I laughed because I'm like, SEAL. You know, like a SEAL? I was like watching the History Channel, Army Rangers, all type of shit. And this guy was like, well, I mean, we can get busy too, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, word, okay. Like, were you a Ranger? Like, have you ever met any Rangers and all? And the guy was like, what?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
But my point is, like, that's a major deep desire. Look what it's saying. Like, a deeper meaning is what we long to find. Join the alliance, leave the slave behind. Break the silence, because we are one.
When it says
we
leave
are the
slave
lions,
behind,
we are one.
did you get from that, like, leave all forms of slavery behind, like making yourself the slave, making someone else a slave? Like, let's be an alliance, let's be a crew that doesn't have to, you know, stomp over a certain group of people to get ourselves up there. Like, let's all rise together.
Shout out to the big homie Jagdeep
yes,
Kaul.
this is live. Hello.
Jagdeep Kaul, good to see you, buddy. We carry on with the work of the henchman, soulless, dividing the sheep from the wolves, protecting and serving our own God. From the void into their eyes, he has arrived, unify and stand together. We won't be denied. So there is a story that this record is a part of that we're not privy to. So we can only speak in generalities, but it looks like that there's a group of bad guys that you're trying to ally yourself against. That's one of the things that humans haven't figured out yet. Human beings haven't figured out how to create a mass organizing principle without creating a bad guy.
Yeah, you know what's
We haven't figured that out yet.
And so I saw this story today on Facebook. I thought it was so fascinating. There was a teacher, and the teacher had the entire school blow up a balloon. Everybody had to blow up their own balloon and write their name on the balloon, and then everybody had to throw their balloons out in the hallway. And then, they kicked them around or whatever. And then the teacher said, everybody go out, you have 5 minutes to find your balloon. So everybody runs out in the hallway, they're frantically, everybody's, looking, not a single person found their balloon. And then the teacher said, okay, now everybody pick up one balloon. Of course, there's one balloon for each student. And then they said, go hand the balloon to the student whose name is on the balloon. And obviously within seconds, everybody had their balloon. Like, if everybody worked together, like how easy and simple that project was. But because everybody had the mentality of me first, nobody could get anywhere. But I was like, that idea, that mentality, and like, you remember that whole like let's roll thing was not actually real. It was a fabricated story. But like that idea of like people like getting together and like let's roll, let's stop the terrorists from taking the plane down, and everybody working together. The mentality of there's more ants than there is grasshoppers or whatever, like they can overtake it if they want. But it's that coming together. It's that alliance thing that we're so busy fighting each other that we overlook things, and then it just causes all these divisions.
We haven't, and I think this is kind of the Jesus project, where he says, love your enemy. So that creates a unifying principle without a bad guy. Mm-hmm. But we're so bad at it. I don't love my enemies. Like, there's some enemies where I'm like, look, it's difficult, man. You get put in situations, and you see your flaws are so obvious, man. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's so many times like when if you talk to people that have you as an American would think is the worst person in the world, but like you get by yourself with that person. It's like, yo, there's no difference between me and this person, bro. Like, this guy is like a dedicated, motivated, religious person who was going after the people who invaded his country. So yeah, like the algorithm of finding a way to create a unifying principle for human beings where they are encouraged to work together as one without having to create an enemy group, because creating an enemy group and another group is so easy because everybody sucks.
Yeah.
So there's never going to be a period in history where you don't have a group of people to say those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like who it was Abraham Lincoln. And he said something about like, well, if you have an enemy, there's two ways to kill him. And one is to kill him, and the other one is to become his friend. Because once you become his friend, you've just killed your enemy. See what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, okay, bro, that's smart. That's wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then like you think about your sensei Jesus, it's like, oh, I kind of showed you that shit, my boy. Like you're just too busy doing all your, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you have to wait. So like the song is crazy because like it's the raw, it's the human spirit, man. Like there's something esoteric about us. We're going to talk about praying, but then there's other parts of it where it's like, we have to do the shit though. Mm-hmm. You can't just pray, your kingdom come, and then see a poor person and do nothing. Mm-hmm. Like you are a lot of times, like as a Christian, like you have to be the answer to that prayer. You can't say, oh, I want people sheltered and then pray and do nothing. Because look at the song that says, pray, light the fire of the hope. We are the shelter.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know where these guys are coming from, but I'm a Christian. I can't see the world any other way. And I just think that, our team, a lot of times, like, they're not really trying to do anything. And so they'll use words like pray and things like that as an excuse to not act in the actual world.
Yeah.
And then our secular friends are like, man, we ain't doing none of this praying shit. We just got to act in the world.
That's why Jesus said, when somebody comes up and they ask for something, don't just say, like, be warmed.
Right.
Do something about it. If they're cold, do some shit to get them warm.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deep shit.
I
Deep
would-
shit.
I would-
Would you give? Would you?
I was watching this show. It's like a chef show because I love watching people cook, and there's like a lot of conflict in the kitchen, and I was like, wow, like this is probably what they feel is going to make this show the best, is to show like this conflict. But I just wanted to watch people working together in the kitchen to create something beautiful and wonderful. And I was like, I wonder when the day will come when it switches and it's like the conflicts are kind of looked at as like, they had some conflicts, but people actually want to see like that togetherness and, you know, the working together aspect of it and people coming together and like loving each other. Like I like seeing those elements when they can work together. But anyway, I give this song a solid 9.
Yeah. Try to
Solid 9.
love someone who threw the ass in the eyes of an 8-year-old girl for going to school.
What happened?
Yeah, I love them like that, bro. I'm with you. I'm with you, 275 for sure. Very strong opening. Very interesting evolution in musical taste for Amy, because Amy never liked that. But I agree. Like,
What? Really?
well, she didn't like the. Remember, she's the Cookie Monster stuff.
I didn't think they were.
But this wasn't necessarily Cookie Monstery. But to
Yeah.
your point, like desperate type of thing. 9.4 for me.
Yeah, it was heavy in parts of it too. You said what? 9.4?
Yeah, 9.4.
9.6 or 9.6 for Dwayne. Then 8.5. All right. Well, we'll be right back. We have 7 more songs. The night is very young.
Amy, we can be friends unconditionally to Jambi if you'd like. Don't do anything for my sake. That's the boys' love language. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's all good. But if you're tired of seeing his dumb shit, then hell yeah, get rid of him. It's your night. We shall return, dear listener. But I mean, I'm trying to love my enemy. You feel me? So I'm trying to like.
Plus, he said he loved you at the beginning of the stream.
Yeah, he said he loved us at the beginning of the stream. Mashallah. Okay, we shall return. We shall return. Commercial break. We'll be right back.